Shane, nice to meet you.
And
Uh,
it's two James.
not the typical way we think of being the first overall pick, but what was it like? What was your reaction to the moment?
Uh, Surreal for sure. I've been through two other drafts and didn't get my name called in those. And to be first in the first round was a special experience for me and my family.
When you weren't added to the 40 man, do you kind of think like this was a possibility that you were prepared for of switching organizations?
Yeah, I didn't put too much stock into it. You never know what teams are thinking and what they plan on doing. But when I wasn't added to the 40 man, I was prepared to make that change if it was going to come.
Is in your opinion between starting and relieving, and which do you prefer?
Um, I think the workload is definitely a big difference between starting and relieving. I prefer starting. I just kind of like getting into games, getting a rhythm. You might not have every pitch in the first inning, but as you get through like three, four, five, six, you kind of get that feel back. Um, but yeah, I don't think in terms of mentality or what you're trying to do is too much different than starting and relieving. But whatever opportunity I get, I plan to make the most of.
Speaking of opportunity, what is it like to come to a team like the White Sox that might be able to offer some opportunity that other teams might not?
Yeah, extremely grateful for the White Sox to take their pick on me. I think there's definitely a lot of space and opportunity for me to make the most of whatever they have me doing, whether it's starting, relieving, long relief. Kind of be a jackknife in any way possible. And I think the White Sox are a perfect place to do that.
Hi Shane, how would you say your progress has come along? You've kind of gone from one place to the level that you're at now to receive the attention you did in the Rule 5. Um, Kind of take us through the improvements you've made over the last year or two, right?
Yeah, starting my college career was shortened with COVID and injuries, and getting into pro ball, I got an opportunity as an undrafted free agent. So I'd say 23 was knocking a lot of rust off, and 24 is kind of refining and adding a slider and knowing what my pitches do and what counts I do best in. And it's kind of just finding my strengths again, and also knowing my weaknesses and how I can work on those. But yeah, it's been a learning progress all throughout Double A last year, going up to Triple A to relieve, and just kind of trusting the people around me that know me and know my opponents and my catchers and everything, and working on my strengths with them as well. Hey, great. How are you?
Fine. Welcome to Chicago.
Oh,
Or,
thank you.
or as we say here in Chicago, welcome to the shop.
I'm ready for it.
So, I mean, it's pretty obvious the White Sox is in transition as far as the rebuild. So, what do you feel that you have to contribute to this team in this process to make them better and to better yourself?
I think I'm going to show up every day and be, competitive. I think that's, the backbone of who I am is that I love to compete in, all throughout school and any sport that I've played. I've always, wanting to be the best is one thing, but also wanting to be the best version of yourself on and off the field, I think is something that I take, very seriously, whether it's building a good relationship with my teammates and the coaches and the staff around me. Just showing up and being who I am and, hopefully be a positive influence in that clubhouse and, obviously take care of the field, take care of the stuff on the field as well.
So, how familiar are you with Chicago, and do you have a relationship with any of the current players or coaches?
I've been to Evanston one time to visit Northwestern when I was in high school, and that's the only exposure I have to that part of the country. But in terms of relationships, I played some summer baseball with Sean Burke when I was in high school. So I know him well, and I played college ball with Jared Schuster, who's also in the White Sox. So yeah, I know those two guys, and I know I talked to Walker McKinven today, who's the new bench coach. Chatted with him. He was from the Brewers, so we kind of talked about similarities and differences and kind of how we want to look at this year and the opportunity that's in front of me.
Well, last thing, we're going to have to introduce you to Chicago Pizza now.
Yeah, I know it'll be a little different than the Boston slices I get here, but I'm excited to try any and everything there.
Thinking of the way last season finished, that you were already hoping to kind of come into spring camp, competing for a spot on a major league roster, or is this kind of a new jump to that you'll be able to come to that camp with that mindset?
Yeah, I try and think the highest possible level, and in a lot of ways. Like going into last year, I started in Double A, and I was like, I want to make my big league debut this year, and it didn't happen. But I think I put a good step forward. And definitely going into this year, I wanted to fight for a roster spot, whatever that looks like. But it's definitely on my mind.
You have some like level of natural cut to your fastball. How did that play into how you develop your slider, and what does the slider kind of bring to your arsenal?
Yeah, I think the cut started to. I did a little bit coming back from Tommy John, and then kind of corrected it. But probably midway through the year, toward the end of the year, I started cutting the heater. Didn't kill the fastball velocity, but I think it helped me get that feeling of almost getting to the side of the baseball for my slider. Because before I try to think almost like my curveball, get in front of it to create that movement. Um, and then once I realized that I can get to the side of the baseball without, really thinking about it or trying it, once I kind of blended the two between the curveball and getting on the side of the ball for the slider, I think that's when it kind of picked up a little bit.
I don't know if you've like talked to the Sox about what, role potentials could be, but you kind of sound like you're ready for anything. I know last year you did both starting relieving, but do you have to approach it like, I could be doing a lot of different things, multi-inning, starting, short relieving, stuff like that?
Yeah, I'm gonna prepare for a large volume, whatever that looks like, whether it's 2 or 3 innings out of the pen, or starting, or 1 inning out of the pen. I'll prepare for more because it's a lot easier to taper down than prepare for 1 or 2 innings and then have to build up kind of at spring training or in January, February. So my off season has had a lot of volume, and just kind of getting the body ready for another year. But yeah, ready to do anything.